Hello, my loves and fellow creatives. I see we have Jessie and finding her way here already. Greetings, everyone. I am getting ready to do this template. I want to see if I can wait on someone who will be changing out the image for. I want to make sure that they are here. And I do have some details for what we'll be doing to change out this template. And this template is a super, it looks really ornate and really difficult, but it's a very simple template. And I want to show y'all how easy it is. As a matter of fact, while I'm waiting, I think what I'll do is I'll change out the image and the colors just as I would for the person that I'm waiting on. But I think just showing you how quick this can be changed out will give you a little confidence in these templates as well. And then once you get confident with the templates, you get a little more confident in Photoshop in general. So the first time I'm going to keep this extremely simple. So we're just going to change out the photo, and I'm just looking for the photo that I'm going to change this out to. And this is one of our fellow creatives images. I think Denise Smith Carter. I pulled that one for you, and we'll go through the steps just as we would if you were changing this out for your customer. So first thing first, I'm going to right click on the photo and I'm going to find that photo. Okay, so I found the name of the photo, I clicked on it. It revealed it to me in the layers panel, so I don't have to search for it. Then I'm going to bring in my photo, and literally you'll see me dragging it. You see it coming on my screen. I'm dragging it from my folder, and I'm going to drop it like it's hot right there onto my artboard. And I'm going to pull on these edges here just to make it an appropriate size for me. So instead of this, the full body photo that we have of Whitney as our example here, God rest her soul, we can pull in this image, which is more of a bust image. So usually like from the chest up are probably going to be your most common photos. So I'm going to show you how you can change it from that standing pose. We can go ahead and take that image off now. And we can still modify the wings. So we can right click here on the wings. And then of course we'll have to adjust this here. But before we do anything, let me go ahead and turn on my guides. My guides help me to see when I'm going kind of outside of my suggested printed area. And I want to bring the wings down a little bit. So I'm going to right click, select the wings, the whole group for the wings. And I may even want to make them a little bigger now because my image is larger in proportion. So I'm going to make them bigger to where they'll still pop out of my little 13 by 19 area, but I'm still going to see the edges, the tips of the wings there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter to lock that in. You do Control T to transform, and as soon as you're finished transforming, you have to hit enter to lock in the transformation. Now for this particular case, I'm going to take the Forever in Our Hearts, and it has the doves and everything with it. I'm going to duplicate this because I want to keep it where it was for the standing photo, but I want to bring it down for the photo where we're doing a bust image. Okay. And then we'll fade off the edge of this image. As you can see, it has like this blunt edge to it. So let's right click, let's find our photo. We're going to add a layer mask down here at the bottom, this rectangle with a circle in it. Then I'm going to grab my paintbrush. And my paintbrush, I want to make sure that I have black selected as my foreground color. If you don't have that, click on this default swatch. It usually goes white to the front, black to the back. And then just use this switcheroo button to bring the black to the foreground. All right, so I have black selected. I want to make sure I'm not painting on my photo. I don't have my photo selected. I have my layer mask selected. Let me let you know what that looks like. This means the photo is selected. You see the brackets are around the photo. Now the brackets are around the layer mask. That means I'm on my layer mask. So when I paint on my layer mask, I'm not officially removing pixels, I'm just hiding them. So black conceals and white reveals, and it just makes it look like a totally, kind of organic, kind of phase out rather than a hard edge image there. All right, and I'm happy with that, and technically this could be our finalized design here. All right, and then what's next? If we wanted to change out the colors here, you have these different faint clouds that all have a gradient overlay. So I can take the gradient overlay off of all of them just so you see what they look like. And you get an idea that once you come up with one gradient, you can keep using it over and over again. So let's say for this one, I want to use maybe the rainbow color gradient. So let's go to the gradient overlay. And before, I have the one that I use for the Whitney inspiration. It has like a golden orange, it has like a coral color, and then not necessarily a sky blue, more like a Carolina blue. Okay, so I'm going to, instead of totally delete that, I'm going to create a new gradient overlay so that it copied it right above, and I'm just going to switch those colors out. So let's say that I did want it to be more traditional rainbow colors, then I probably already have a rainbow selection somewhere in here. There we are, and I could go with that set. And if I wanted it to truly be rainbow, this is more like my Lisa Frank rainbow. If I wanted a true rainbow, I probably would go with, let me see if they have it in the basics. They probably don't. No, they don't. So I would go with reds. So how a rainbow goes is Roy G. Biv. So we'll go red, and I'll take out this magenta here. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And that is how the rainbow goes. Now, just in case I happen to do this as a non-linear, I like to start and end with the same color. So I'll start with red and end with red if that's how I'm going to go. So Roy G. Biv is there. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue. And you get a blue in there. Some little bit of a lighter blue. Let me put this blue. A little bit more of a true blue in there. And then I get more of my purple. And let me save that gradient. If you ever create a gradient and you think you'll ever use it again, go ahead and hit new here, and it will create that new gradient. You can even name them. I don't choose to name them. I go by visual and not necessarily reading what the name of it is. Okay, so now I have that gradient saved. I can say OK. And everything that has the gradient now, I'm just going to switch it to this new gradient selection we did. So let's see, that's one gradient. We'll go down here to the other gradient, double click, add a new gradient, and just switch it. And see how that automatically just changes this design just because of the gradients that you use? And let's see what else. We have a gradient here for these clouds. Let's double click there, add a new gradient, and change the new gradient. We'll select our default. And I believe that is it. Oh, this one here, the front clouds. We'll double click that gradient, add a new one, and change the new one. That simple. That simple. And I believe that's it. I'm going to click back here on this one just to see what I'm clicking on here. And then you also, like these gates and different things, they're all separate layers. So if you want to turn off the gates and turn off the rainbow, you have that option. Right? I happen to like them. I'm going to keep them around. And that's it. It's that simple. We're going to change the text in the next layout. So let me see if our friend is here now. Hey, love. And your flamboyant creator, do me a favor. What is your name? And that way I can refer to you by name, because we're going to work on yours next. And oh, let me show you also if we wanted to change the text. So we already created a copy of this text, so I don't mind changing it up. So if we go to In Our Hearts and we double click on the effects, it too has a gradient overlay, which we can change by adding a new one and choosing our new gradient. And see how easy that is? I'll do the same thing for the Forever. Double click on the FX and change out the colors. And this has got to be by far one of the, it looks really complicated. It's a few layers. It looks a little complicated, but it's got to be one of the easiest templates yet. To get such a really cool effect and have so little layers and so little to actually change. That's it. Now let me see, I have some data down here. What is that I'm clicking on? Okay, so this is changing those colors globally too. Zelta. Okay, love. So Zelta, we're going to go ahead and do your transformation next to your image. So I just wanted to make sure that I had you before I started on it. So we did another one of our members. I think this may have been one of her family members, maybe mom. And this was just a gorgeous bit. That smile is just phenomenal. So I felt like that's a good one too. And I'm just moving, it has these flares on here, and you can change each of these flares, but I'm just moving them off of her face right now. We'll bring them down. And then I can take this one that's right there on her face and move just that one particular little bling. And I'm going to move it out of the way. I'm going to move these back up to where they were because I think it kind of left a little shadow there. And I did that on purpose to make it look a little 3D. So I want to keep those in place. There we go. I like them looking 3D. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save what I'm working on. And we'll go ahead and get started on Zeltas. And before we get started, I just want to, before I bring this image up, I want to offer my dearest and most sincere condolences. Zelta's son was a victim of gun violence, so we're doing this in his honor today. We're going to put our love and our hearts and our energy together to just bring about a spirit of love and peace during this time. Okay, because I know this can be real difficult sometimes bringing these type of images onto the screen. So I just want to be all on one accord with this. Okay. And our fellow creatives that are here with us this evening are understanding as well, and I'm sure their compassion and their heart goes out as well. Okay, so let me find our beautiful photo. And the first thing what we're going to have to do is cut out the background. So I'm going to see if we can cut it out with Remove BG. So I'm going to open Remove BG. And we're going to drag the image from the folder. I'm dragging it from my folder, and I'm going to drop it like it's hot right here onto my browser screen. And it said that it couldn't identify the foreground from the background, so guess what we're going to have to do? A little Photoshop fun. So let's go ahead and open it up in Photoshop. And now you'll get to see a unique opportunity of cutting out the image. And the reason why I may not have been able to tell the foreground from the background, it could be the resolution of the picture. It could be that the picture, the foreground and background are too dark, so it can't clearly define that. But in this instance, we're going to check the image size first. And it's a decent size as far as us being able to cut from. So we're going to just go with it. And then if I have to create some data somewhere, then I just will. Let's zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to Control+ to zoom in. When I hold down my space bar, you see my mouse turns into a little white glove. That means I can pan it around and move my image around. And I'm going to use my pen tool, which is over on the side here. Pen tool. And I'm going to click and drag to create my curves. You see I'm clicking and dragging. Instead of, you might be familiar with the polygon lasso tool where you just click, click, click away and create all these little corners. Well, this one allows us to kind of make up our own curves. And this is helpful because even that quick selection tool probably would not be able to depict all the area that we want to keep. And it's typically because it's just really hard when you have a pixelated image for it to decipher what it wants to keep. So we're doing that part right now. And maybe we can define the selection a little bit later. If we, I usually like the algorithm that Remove BG does because it does really well for hair, surprisingly. It doesn't like smooth out the hair to where everybody looks like they're wearing a helmet. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so out here, I'm just going to come down. Doesn't matter where I am here. I tapped instead of clicking and drag. And here I have an option to keep this I can make a mask right now. It will be a vector mask. So I'm going to hit mask. And see how it turned into a vector mask? Once it's a vector mask, I have the option to change these nodes and pull them out and manipulate them if I just happen to, you know, cut off a little too much or miss something. I have a vector mask that I can work with there. But for right now, I'm going to click on my tool here, just back up and see how it looks to me. And I think this looks just fine. Now we can go ahead and bring this in over together. Instead of saving it as a file, I'm just going to click, drag it on over. And I hover over my new tab and then I drop it like it's hot onto the artboard. And I'll do Control T to transform it because I have to make the size larger. And then you know me, we're going to do a little fading off, but I'm going to show you something. Now in this case, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the photo layer here. And I needed to bring my image in on the right layer, which I did not do. I just kind of brought it in wherever I was, which happened to be in the dove layer. But originally, when I showed you how to bring in the other picture, I told you to make sure that you have your current photo selected so that when you drag your new image in, it'll drop it right on top of the previous layer. And that kind of keeps you from searching, you know, searching through this for it. Okay. And let's do, I'm going to name this photo, so we'll know that this is a photo. Let me put my pen down now. And of course we have this kind of hard line that ends here, and there's a couple of things we can do about that. We can take our flare and kind of distract from that bottom there, and then we can fade it off. Or if we need to, I'm going to go ahead and make this a smart object. So I'm going to right click and convert to smart object. Then I'm going to open this up in a new window. All right, and I want to add I feel like it ends so abruptly that even if I fade it off, it's going to be cutting a little too soon. So let's go to image. I'm going to go to canvas size, and I'm going to make this canvas size a little taller than it is right now. So right now the height is 10. I'm going to make it 16. And I'm going to anchor everything to this top center point. So it puts all my extra outside meat down here. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of mimic this area of the shirt. And I actually need to mimic the pixels, because if I straight up paint, and this is not the best way to do this, this is just the easiest way to do this to show you all without showing you too many extra tools like the cloning and stamping and that sort of thing. Y'all are all familiar with copying and pasting, so I just created a little marquee there. I'm going to copy. Control V is going to allow me to paste. So Control C is copy, Control V is paste. And I'm going to put this down here. And before I actually place this, I'm going to fade off these edges. So Control, and then if I select this icon, or select the thumbnail here, I get the option to select all of the active pixels. And then now I'm on one of my, you can be on any of your selection tools, so any of your marching ant tools. And if you go to selected mask, it gives you an option to feather that off. And I forget that the selection itself is red, so it's a little hard to see. So let me choose maybe the black there so I can see more of the red coming through. And you see where it's feathering? Feathering means that it's going to kind of let it gradually in the edges rather than completely letting them be hard edges there. And I'm feathering a little too much. That should be good. So I have the inside selected, but it's feathered off, and I won't be able to tell right now. But I'm going to create a clipping mask here, and see what it did? It just feathered those outside areas. It's not quite as feathered as I want it to be, so I'm going to apply that layer mask, and I'm going to go in with my brush, reduce the size of the brush, and you can do this by right-clicking. You can reduce the size of it, but I do Control, Alt, and then I right-click. If I drag it to the right, it gets bigger. If I drag it to the left, it gets smaller. So I'm going to make it smaller, and I'm going to do a layer mask with black paint selected, and I'm just going to clean up around these edges because I'm going to use this pretty much, I'm making my own patch. And the reason why I'm not using some of the fancy tools is because I have a feeling that this one is you know, a little too pixelated to make me happy using those tools. So I'm just going to create my own little patch here. Alright, so I created one, and I'm just going to Alt click and drag to keep making copies of it. And of course, this is not going to be perfect. I'm just kind of creating something here. I'm going to place it all underneath the photo. And then I noticed there, like, this is a photo of a photo, so there's a little bit of glare right here. So what I'm going to do is take off the original photo. I'm going to grab this little section here because it's a little bit lighter red. And I'm going to copy, Control C, Control V. And again, that just made me a little patch there. Control T allows me to transform it. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did before, which was add a layer mask and kind of clean up around these edges so that it looks like a smoother transition to this patch. And I do not normally do all this stuff. I will tell you, usually I will do this a lot of times for remembrance shirts because they're, you know, these are memorialized forever. So I do take a little more time and attention with those, but like a general kind of like birthday shirt or something, I always charge extra to do all of this kind of stuff. And you should too, because it takes a little extra time out of your day. But like I said, for remembrance shirts, we usually put a little more into it. And if you have the ability to make someone else just a little bit happy in a, especially a time where they're grieving, or even if it's not an immediate, like it wasn't an immediate situation, but they're still grieving. You're always grieving. You never get over this sort of thing. So it just gives them a little something to hold on to and be happy about. And you can give them that little piece of happiness from a design, then I say go for it. Now I'm just using these little pieces and I'm clicking and dragging them. If you notice, I'm holding down Alt, and Alt is allowing me to make a copy of it. And I'm just giving myself some extra data down here so that when I do go ahead and fade off the bottom, I have something to fade off from. It is not perfect, but it is pretty undetectable. Okay, and now I see that I've gotten a little outside of my edge here. I'm going to control click this layer mask, and when I control click on the icon, it actively selected those pixels, but I want to select the outside of that. So I have the inside meat selected. I want to select the outside meat, so I'm going to go to select and inverse. So now instead of the inside meat, I have the outside meat selected. And I'm going to take my brush here. Now in order for me to be able to brush on this layer, I have to rasterize this vector mask. So I'm going to go ahead and rasterize it because it looks good. And then I'm going to come over here and use my black. Oh, I'm painting on the wrong layer. I need to paint on the layer where all of this excess is. And the way that I'm going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and just merge these layers. And go ahead and merge these layers. They're not perfect, but they kind of are where they are, and it works out. So I'm going to start with the top here, add a layer mask. Oh, it added the layer mask of the selected pixels. So let me go back. Here, I'm going to go to layer mask, and I'm going to tell it to hide all. And then I'll bring back the parts that I want. So hide all is where it's going to turn everything black. And in order to bring it back, you have to paint white because black conceals, white reveals. So if I want to bring it back, then I can deselect right now. I'm on my layer mask. I'm painting with white now. See how I'm bringing it back? And then we can kind of tell what we wanted to bring back. Maybe some areas we want the darker red to show through, but it may not be as hard as I'm making it out to be. And then let's say you added too much. You go back to the black, and then you can take some back away. So you just toggle between the black and the white. As long as you know what it does, that black is going to conceal and white's going to reveal, you're going to be perfectly fine. And then I'm going to come down here to this bottom layer, add a new layer mask to that one. And I'm just going to clear off this right here. Because when I fade from the bottom, I won't be able to tell this part. So this looks good to me. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and merge all of this together so it won't be a larger file than it has to be. We'll say yes, we're going to keep those changes. And now you see he has a little more of the red shirt. So if I decide to fade off from the bottom, before the photo was so short that if I faded off the bottom, it would also fade off his chin. And I don't want to do that. So I wanted to have a little more space there. Bring this in just a little bit. Bring the image up. And now when I go to fade it off, I create a layer mask on this photo. I grab my paintbrush just like I did before on the other image. And I'm going to make my paintbrush a little bit bigger. So right now it's about 669 pixels. I have black selected. And the reason why I know is because I have my default over here. Black is flipped to the front, so it is the foreground. And I am making sure that I'm painting on my layer mask, not the actual photo image. Okay, and I'm just coming in and I'm fading that off. And now I have something to grab onto. I have something to take away. Because before the original photo was so close to the edge that if I would have faded it off, it would have faded off way too far into the face. So you see, even all that hard work that I did, now you barely even see all of that extra stuff at the bottom. But it's cool because it gave us something to fade from. All right, so have that one in there. And yes, Zelda says that the colors to go with this one for him are going to be red for sure. So let me go to my notes here, going to do red as his color. Absolutely. We can do that. And we can tell because he's already wearing red. So it's good that we fixed the shirt there. And we're going to put on this one, your wings were ready, my heart was not. So we're going to show you how to change the text and the colors up. Okay. So what I'm going to do, because your wings were ready, I usually split it up when it's a lot of text like that. So I'm going to take the Forever in Our Hearts copy, and I'm going to duplicate that so that I keep my original layout. And it just happens, let me move the doves out of here. The doves will put you all on the top here. Okay, so this one I'm going to bring up to, well, let's keep one to the bottom, and then I'm going to alt click and bring one to the top. So let's say your wings were ready, our hearts were not. And I'm going to copy and paste the text from the original source. So I make sure I spell everything how someone wants. One time I corrected spelling and they were like, no, I sent it to you how we wanted it spelled. And it was spelled a certain way for a purpose. And me correcting it actually messed things up. So, and then vice versa. Like if you did mess something up and you copied and paste exactly what a client gave you, then it's their responsibility to notice whatever that error is. And you can point the error out to them if you believe it to be an error. But my suggestion is to always play it safe and copy and paste. So I'm going to bring this one, it's going to say your wings were ready. And then we don't need the dates up here, so we're going to delete those from the top. We'll paste the word we're ready. And then I'm going to bring the photo down a little bit because we have a lot of space down here at the bottom. So we'll bring the photo and the wings down. And I'm just right clicking on the element so it tells me what I'm touching in my template. And that's right at the bottom of our text safe area. And we'll keep that little flare there. And so it's going to say your wings were ready and my heart was not. So we're going to do my heart. I'm going to switch it up this time. I'm going to do my heart in the script text. And bring it up, and then the forever I'm going to bring it down, and this is just you playing with typography. And then we'll put was not there. And then I'm going to make the was not a little bit smaller just so that it kind of looks about the same size as your wings. And then of course we'll change all the colors and everything. And I'm just playing with sizing to kind of get it to where I feel like it's visually appealing. It's really all up to you. And I'm even thinking that instead of we're ready, I might do your wings. And see. And the reason why I create a copy, because if I'm not sure yet, then your wings. Yeah, I think I like the your wings in cursive and the we're ready. It's like I try to emphasize certain parts of the text that might be a little more heartfelt to have the script, and then like standard words, I might choose those to have like a standard font, and it's not always that I do that. There we go. I think to me that kind of speaks a little bit better with the typography. And then the your wings is kind of up there with the dove wings, so that kind of speaks to me a little bit more too. And speaking of doves, let me move this one just a little bit. That way we get a little overlapping, but I still see my words there. I'll bring the dove below the your there. Okay, so maybe we'll move these two doves a little bit lower for this design. And now all we have to do is change the colors. So as we did earlier, we picked a gradient earlier. We're going to do the same exact thing, and then we'll pretty much have everything together. Oh, we need to change the dates. And again, I'm going to copy and paste the dates here. So if you just double click on the text, it'll allow you to change it. Now we can type out the dates, but if I type out the dates, I still copy and paste the written or the numerical dates, because I can check against it. So April 6th, 1979, and I just try to be very careful because this is me technically interpreting information, so I could or anyone doing this can potentially mess up July. So let me stop talking. July 8th, comma 2003. Okay, and now I'm making sure April 6th, 79, 7803. Double check for me, Zell, to make sure I have that done correctly. And then we'll change out the colors. I just put spaces in between it. I don't try to get fancy. I just put spaces until it looks right to me. And for the color overlay for this one, I'm going to double click on the effects, and I'll choose this one to be a red color overlay. And then we also have a stroke going on here that has a color. I was like, why did it change? Because that stroke is actually probably thicker than the color overlay itself. So we have that stroke change there. We'll say okay to that. And now we'll start changing the clouds and everything around it. Now here's the deal. If you're doing clouds, in order to get things to have a red look, you have to kind of make your clouds look a little bit darker and then apply your layer effects. Otherwise you'll get a pastel red, which is technically a pink. So I'm going to show you that difference here. So if we go to the gradient overlay like we did before, and we make a new one. And let's see if I have anything with reds in it already. So that has a red gradient, but see how it's more pastel? And then the one up top is darker, and I'm going to show you the difference there. So the back clouds, we're going to do that gradient overlay. We'll add a new one. So click the plus sign to add a new one. It's going to duplicate the last one you did. And we're going to choose that red. And see how the clouds with the more opacity and a little stronger darker appearance are going to hold the color better. And what you can do here, let's say you want a little bit more of the bright red and less of the burgundy-ish color. We can kind of change how much of that color is present and where it's present. Now this is just a traditional kind of gradient overlay here, and it's not very strategic. So let me show you. Let's do this. I showed this to y'all on the last video. Instead of doing a gradient overlay, I'm going to turn the gradient overlays off and just do a color overlay instead. So let's go double click on effects. Instead of a gradient overlay, I'm going to do a solid color. And let's say we pick one of these reds here. And now you'll see that the colors, no matter where, where it's applied to, it's going to give me that red color. And I'm just giving it a little more vibrant color. I hit this exclamation point for it to help me guess a better red that will print more like the screen. And I think I'm going to keep it on to normal there. And that's the only reason why I'm choosing normal is because these clouds are already transparent here. And I'm going to show you one more thing. So the other thing is you can do a gradient map. And what a gradient map does, I'll go ahead and show you. We're going to do a layer, new adjustment layer, and gradient map. Okay, now what a gradient map does is it takes the darkest color and allows you to pick a color for the darkest color and to pick a color for the lightest color. Right now it has black to white selected. So we're going to make it go from red, like a dark red, and then we'll choose the next color stop. We'll choose more of a standard red. And as you can see how now the clouds are getting a little more definition of color. It's not just a flat color that's selected there. And then you can choose how much your spread of your color goes based on how you manipulate how close these colors are to one another. And you can even add a totally different color to be in one of those middle ranges. Let me show you, for instance, if I put purple here, just for an example. Now purple becomes my mid-tone. Then red becomes my shadows and white becomes my highlight. And the closer you bring these color stops together, the more stark the difference is. The further you move them apart, the more gradient or softer the gradient is from one color to the next. So I just did that with the purple to show you that you don't have to always go monochromatic. You can do different colors. But just for the sake of what we're working on, I'm going to bring the darker red out a little bit. And now once I have this gradient map established, I'm going to right click and create a clipping mask. And now it's going to clip it to just those clouds. And I can take this gradient map and I can apply it anywhere where I want to do the same thing to my middle clouds. And I have to make sure that I create a clipping mask though. Uh-oh, I think I moved it without creating a copy of it. To create a copy, you hold down Alt, click and drag, and now it's making a copy. I can see it's got the black and white arrow. So it made that copy. I'm going to right click, create a clipping mask. Take off the effects for my middle clouds. And you'll see that red pops up right there with the middle clouds. I'm going to do the same thing to kind of Alt, click and drag it. And you'll have this, you won't have to do all this because now that I'm making this a part of the template, you'll have this already set up there. So we'll create a clipping mask. Turn off the effects for this one. You just see that subtle little light bit of red. And the reason why it's so light is because we told the gradient, well, wherever you have this level of lightness, I want it to really be a light red color rather than a pure white or blue or anything else. And then I think what we'll do, we'll leave the blue there. We can take off the rainbow too. We can take it off or we can leave it on. It's just totally up to you what you want to do with it. I never want you to feel like how I designed the template is exactly how you have to use it. And then we'll do the clouds here, the front clouds. We're going to take that same gradient map, Alt, click and drag it. So we're making a copy of it. And I'm going to drag it above the front clouds. And of course, it's applying to everything now. So I have to right click and create a clipping mask, so it only applies to those clouds. I'll take the effects off, and now it kind of gives me the red color. And for this one, I feel like the dark red is a little too much of the dark red, so I may go in and even change this to bring more of the true red out. I want to delete one of those color stops. I guess it's only reading one of these colors because there's not a lot of contrast in those clouds there. Very little contrast. All right, so now I'm going to change the whole background. So right now my background is white. This is what it looks like with a black background. So what I'm going to do, so I incorporate more of the red, I'm probably going to see what it looks like with the red background. So I'll duplicate this layer with the color fill. And I'm going to double click on my color fill and just choose red. And see how that immediately starts kind of blending in a little bit better. And now I can see where my flares are definitely. And I can choose each individual flare and move it around. I know we're going to lose these ones at the bottom anyway, so I'm going to bring them up into my art. I'm just moving each individual flare. And it's kind of giving me this this glowing effect around them too. Okay, and we'll leave that rainbow there. All right, let me know how you feel about the colors. We'll go ahead and we'll change the text here too to match. So if we want to make it instead of gradient, we don't have to always make everything gradient. I know I pressure y'all to do gradients all the time because that's what I do. But you can choose a solid color too. Just do a color overlay. And we can choose one of our reds from the artwork there. And it's just that simple. If you want to do the same red over and over again, then I would suggest that you copy the hex code number. So just copy it. And then that way when you go to, let's go to We're Ready. Double click on the FX. We'll do a color overlay instead of the gradient overlay. And we'll paste this hex code right here. So you don't have to keep guessing for the colors. And it looks like when I cleaned my gate up, I think I did, because I did it with color separation, so I may have had my words and stuff on top of this when I did it, so I'm going to have to redo my gates because I can see the text kind of burned through, if you can see that. Now the "we're ready" and "are not," I'm going to change this up a little bit because when we shrunk the text, I feel like that outline, that stroke is a little too heavy. So I'm going to reduce it on the inside and the outside. So it was 18 on the outside. Maybe I'll do 14, 12, not 14, 12, but 12. That looks better to me. And then the stroke on the inside was, I think, 5 or 7, and I brought that down a little bit. And the gold inside is 12, so I'm going to break it down to 7. Not 78. Let's do 9. There we go. That looks a little bit better to me because I want it to look like a slim text, but I didn't want it to be totally illegible with all that gold. So we'll copy that layer style, and I don't have to do those same effects because I can go down here to "was not," and I can just paste the layer style. Now we will update it with the same layer style I had up here. And I don't know if you want to put you know, any name or anything like that on there, we can, but I've noticed a lot of times lately people aren't putting names, they're just putting their messages. So whatever you want, that's what we'll do. So just don't let me think that I left anything off that you may have wanted to put on here. And like I said, I think I'm going to click on this gate and see if I'm right. I think when I created the gate, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to, and I'll do this before I make it a template for you all. This gate has some images kind of burned into it. So I'm going to redo the gate so that it doesn't have that problem for you. All right. And then you'll have this for the project that you need to work on for the little one that passed away yesterday. So now you'll have this as a template, and you saw it go from the, you know, the multicolor. We did like a nice kind of neutral yellow golds and blues, and then we did a rainbow color, and now we're doing more of a monochromatic red color. So any of those options, you'll be able to watch this video again and go back through it and create any combination of design that you want from that. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. And thank you for offering up your image to help others learn, because I know that this is something special to you, but it's also special to others because they get a chance to learn from this labor of love. Okay, so does anyone have any question? Yes, I am awesome daddy's girl. Thank you, Carol. Anyone have any other questions about what you might want to see manipulated on the template so that you know how to do it for yourself? So I think this one is pretty simple, pretty straightforward, without a whole lot of fuss. So this will probably be a template that that some of you may want to start out with to not get overwhelmed. Oh, love, I'm so glad that it could touch you in that way, and I'm glad that we could be able to have this experience today. And it was just meant to be that you were on live today and able to share a story with us, and we were able to share our love and gratitude and extend this to you as well. So I'm going to make sure I save while I'm doing all this talking. Let me be sure to save. All right, and I'll go ahead and get this one posted up. So make sure that you let Erica know your login for not the academy, but for the regular Innate Lab, what your email is that you use for your login. And once I go ahead and post this, you'll be able to put this in your cart, and then I'll push it through, and you'll be able to I'll be able to check you out from the back end for free, so you won't have to pay for this template. The subscription. So if you're currently on the $30 subscription, let me show you that, so it'll be a little easier to show you. Oh, I think I already had a window down here. So let's do academy.innatelab.com. So in order to upgrade your subscription, what you're going to have to do, right now you're probably at the $30 a month subscription. If you want the $60 a month, the difference is you'll be able to once a month attend a live session, and you'll get a coupon code for that. You use your coupon code to attend any live session, and we're at least going to have 4 live sessions every month. So we're guaranteed to have one per week at any given time. So if you can make it to one of those, normally I'll try to let you know ahead of time. Right now we're doing them all on Sundays. Sundays 7 p.m. seem to be a pretty universal time where people are available, but if I need to make classes outside of that, I'll start considering that too. But the upgrade will be the $60 a month one. If you're already at 30, you'll go to the 60 and check out. And then what you'll have to do is let Erica know, hey, I went ahead and joined the $60 plan. And what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to see where you left off on your $30 plan, and I'll be able to catch you up on those classes. So let's say as of right now, you have unlocked, because you know you get 101 to 104 for free immediately when you sign up. And then 105 unlocks 7 days later. 106 unlocks 14 days later. So let's say you've already unlocked up to 106, then I will manually unlock you up to 106 on the $60 plan. So then that way you don't have to wait in line for those to drip and unlock on your account again. Okay, so and for those of you who are interested in the membership, the Academy is a separate brain altogether from the Innate Lab website. This is really a learning institution for all of us. So I'm learning as well. And as I'm learning, I'm catching you up on the things that I'm learning to do. Right now it's mainly digital based and sublimation based. We will be doing some business related content and things of that nature later too. So I want you to keep your eye out for that content, because it's not only about doing digital graphics. Right, so subscription is the base subscription is $30 a month, but you get 4 classes. You get to watch those 4 classes. You don't get to do them live, but the playback for each of those classes is $50, and it's because it comes with a template. Usually the template is a $20 template that it comes with, and it comes with the 3-hour plus video of us working through this as a class, and usually you get to see what the beginners mistakes are. So when I'm showing you a video on Photoshop and I'm on YouTube and I'm just going through the motions, you don't necessarily see all the pitfalls that the common beginner might have. So when you watch the class videos, you will definitely see those issues. It definitely stands out to me because it teaches me what I need to slow down and tell you all. So it's a good balance of learning, having problems, and then problem solving. So all of those things are built into those courses. And of course, if you did nothing but join the membership so you can get 4 templates for $30 for the month, that would be worth it. Okay. So that's my thank you to you all for your relentless support and just always going hard, showing your work and sharing with us in the group, and just consistently participating in these lives and everything too. It means a lot to me. So I listened to y'all. I came up with what I felt was the best deal, because you said you wanted something that was around $30 a month, and I tried to give you, you know, more bang for your buck for $30 a month. All right, love. So anything else, any other questions y'all have about class tomorrow is the program. You can turn it in. You can make it a funeral program. You can make it a wedding program. Anything you can think of right now. It's a church service program. But you'll be able to make it into whatever you want. And that is listed in the live interactive courses. That's my lovely Granny there. And she always gets heavy compliments on her programs, because no matter where she goes, whether, you know, we're from a small town in Florida, so a little rural area. So when she goes to Orlando and all these other places, people still brag about her programs from little old Mariana. So oh no, Carol, let me know. Did you pay $300 on the NA Lab website? Because that's not for the Academy. But if you paid $300 on the website, that is the prepayment plan for the Academy, and I can apply it towards that. Hold on, let me show you. So if you go to sign up for the Academy, it gives you an option for the $30 a month one. Let's say if you go here, it gives you an option to do it for the month or for the year. So the $30 a month plan is $300 for the year. So if you happen to have paid that, then I will put you in the membership as paid for that $30. But the reason why I upped those prices on the regular Innate Lab website is because I didn't want people paying for the classes. So online, on that site, I wanted them to come to the Academy. So even if, let me show you something, even if you go to Innate Lab and you see the classes, it has in the description, I'll go to one of them. So if I go to this 104 course, it says, please visit academy.innatelab for live interactive and pre-recorded courses, as well as monthly membership plans. And I put this this price really high because I didn't want people to pay that. But if you pay that, then it is the same as paying for the annual subscription, and I will place you in the Academy. But you just want to copy and paste that link, academy.innatelab.com, and that's where you want to be to sign up for classes. Because I had to separate it from the Commerce website, because the Commerce website wasn't able to do what I needed to do for the classes. Okay, so when you come here, you'll see Academy membership, and then you'll sign up for whichever plan you want to sign up for. So in your case, you'll sign up for the $60 a month one, or you can do the annual one, and that saves you, basically gives you 2 months free out of the year. So instead of paying for 12 months, you're paying for 10 months, but you get the 12-month subscription. So good questions, loves. I know that I knew it kind of seems a little off topic sometimes, but these are the questions that we get a little bombarded with, so it helps us to know what you need help finding. And Erica, she's here, New Blinger Slinging with E&J. That's Erica. Erica Kane is the name you'll look her up for in the NA Creatives group. And Carol, I don't know what's going on, because you said you can't hear, but I think that was something that was going on last time too in the class, and I think it has something to do with whether your microphone and your speakers were enabled, because we didn't see a microphone on yours at all either. So yeah, message Erica, and she'll see if we can get you. Maybe we can do a mock Zoom session or something to figure out why you can't hear and stuff. It has something to do with the settings on your computer, more than likely. And whether if you're on a desktop or a laptop, if you're on a desktop, you're going to require some external speakers and microphone. If you're on a laptop, usually your speakers and microphones are built in, and you just have to make sure that you allow it to access. So for Zoom, if you have a Mac especially, you have to go through extra steps to make sure that your microphone can work. Okay. So I don't know if you plan on doing the session tomorrow, but if we can get that figured out today, then that way we won't run into that issue during class tomorrow. All right, so I'm going to click out of that. No other questions, loves? I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of these templates uploaded, but let me know what you all want to see. Well, I know I have to do the Spider-Man, and then there's a flower filled unicorn one. So I have a few more templates that I'm going to be doing the tutorials for today. So if you can't join me for all of them, I completely understand, but just know that I've kind of made it a position to be here all day, making sure I make these videos so I can post the templates and have them be a part of the sale. Okay. All right, so Carol, just go ahead and message Erica, let her know what you did check out for, and she'll ask you for like a screenshot or whatever, and then I'll make sure that that we get things translated onto the Academy for you, okay? All right, love, so I'm going to take a small break, and I think each time we're doing this, we're kind of doing an hour at a time, which is not bad. These tutorial videos, it may take only 10 minutes to change out a template, but I like to make sure that I show you different things that you can learn and add on to your knowledge as we make these tutorials. And then I usually end up making a little extra something out of the templates as well. So usually I catch my own errors, I add a little bit to it. So now y'all have gradient maps on here and you have additional gradients. So if you want to turn these gradient maps off, then you'll turn them off and turn the effects on. So I'm going to keep this on until I send this one over. And we'll kind of go from there. All right, so Carol, get with Erica. She'll be able to get you all set up and done. And I'll be looking out for that too, because normally she kind of gets things ready for me, and all I have to do is click a couple buttons. All right, so I will see y'all in just a little bit. All right, loves. Bye for now. I will see you in probably, 20-30 minutes. I'll make a, what do I call that thing? Oh, did I forget to put this announcement in the group? Y'all just told me it was helpful. Dang, I forgot. Okay, I'm sorry. I said I was going to start pre-doing the videos and then putting the link in the group, and I think I forgot to do that one. So I'll do it for the next one, and hopefully y'all catch it. Thanks, love. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye.